It's official, Steelers Nation. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a new offensive coordinator, and it is former Falcons head coach and Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, in what is a completely controversial move by the Pittsburgh Steelers and head coach Mike Tomlin, who is now going to Smith to try and turn things around offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome into Steelers Talk Live in this breaking news edition of the program. The news was just broke by Tom Pelissero that the Steelers are expected to hire former Falcons coach Arthur Smith as their next OC per sources. Smith had a top run game as the Titans OC before heading to Atlanta 3 years ago. Now he'll be coaching Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, and company in Pittsburgh. So listen, there's a lot of people that like this move. There's a lot of people that absolutely hate this move. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. What grade are you giving this hiring of Arthur Smith as the next OC of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comment section. For me personally, guys, I understand why people are upset here, but honestly, I think I like this hire more than most. I'm going to give this a B+, all right? And the reason why I'm going to be giving it a B+ here is because it's somebody with play calling experience. He has a very QB-friendly system, which is exactly what Kenny Pickett needs because he's not a high-level mental processor. He's always had really good run games, all right? He didn't get the most out of Bijan Robinson this year, but he's always had good run games wherever he's been. He's great. He's going to be bringing back Munchak as the offensive line coach to replace Pat Meyer. That's a move that I really like. I personally really like this move by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, would I have preferred Clint Kubiak? Would I have preferred maybe a Brian Greasy, somebody from the San Francisco 49ers? Yes, I would have rather had those guys. But as far as offensive coordinators go, I think he could have done a lot worse than Arthur Smith, okay? I mean, this guy had a bona fide top 5 offense in 2020 with Ryan Tannehill as his fucking quarterback, all right, guys? He had 33 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions that year, all right? Ryan Tannehill is a limited guy. Kenny Pickett is a limited guy, all right? You got 2 good running backs here with Pittsburgh, can absolutely have success in this system. George Pickens is going to fit into that A.J. Brown role on those drift concepts and in those in-breaking routes over the middle. I think that this is a better fit and a better hire than a lot of Steelers fans are crying about on Steelers Twitter right now. And I absolutely think that this is something that could work for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. So I'm going to give it a B+, okay? It's not a grand slam home run like Clint Kubiak or something like that, but it's definitely something that the Pittsburgh Steelers can give Kenny Pickett a shot at success in this league moving forward, and I like it. So let's give some shout-outs here. Who's here right now? We got Omar's Burner. We got Adam. We got Blake Willie in here. We got DeBout. We got Jacqueline in here. SS Austin Hot Rod 24 is in here. Case 72 is in here. What's up, everybody? Cassie's in here right now. What's up, Cassie? Everyone say hi to Cassie in the chat. And listen, man, this blows Matt Canada out of the water, in my opinion.
Yes.
All right, so could you have maybe gotten somebody a little bit better if you went with like a Clint Kubiak, in my opinion? Sure, okay, but as far as offensive coordinators go, this guy has an excellent run scheme. This guy gets receivers like George Pickens involved in his offense. A.J. Brown was a star in this system in Tennessee, and he elevates quarterbacks to potentially being good quarterbacks in this league. Now, of course, Matt Ryan was getting older in his time there in Atlanta. Desmond Ridder, I mean, for Christ's sakes, was there. So he hasn't really had really good quarterback play there in Atlanta. And I know people are criticize the fact that he didn't get the most out of Pitts and he didn't get the most out of Bijan Robinson last year. And there's that's a fair point.
It's a fair criticism for sure. But I also think you made a good point about, I think that there's some of the Steelers personnel that they have on this roster will be able to work with Arthur Smith. Now, there are some guys who might be in a little bit of trouble, and we'll talk about that later, but I think this is a decent hire by Mike Tomlin, and I will say this. This is Mike Tomlin's last hire of an offensive coordinator.
Mike Tomlin is staking his future with this organization on Arthur Smith right now. So obviously, he has a lot of faith in him. They only interviewed 3 people for this job. It seemed like Arthur Smith was their guy from the start, and that's who they ended up getting here as their next offensive coordinator. And, I look at this system. It's very quarterback friendly. And listen, personally, I wish the Pittsburgh Steelers would get a little bit more aggressive and maybe go get like a Russell Wilson or a Justin Fields or, take a bigger swing at the quarterback position because personally, I think Kenny Pickett is pretty limited. And in the AFC with guys like Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar Jackson and all these different guys, these super weapon type quarterbacks, I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett is ever going to be a guy that can just straight up beat those guys in the playoffs.
For sure.
But if you're going to stick with Kenny Pickett, and it seems like this organization is dead set on it, you have to get a guy like Arthur Smith who runs this very QB-friendly system, very simple reads for the quarterback, creates space over the middle of the field with play action. I think this is an excellent fit between scheme and quarterback. And not only that, but scheme and the running backs here. Najee Harris, I don't think anyone was going to claim that he's Derrick Henry.
No.
But he's a bigger running back that has a similar skill set to Derrick Henry when he was there in Tennessee. And then Jaylen Warren, he's one of the best cutback players in the National Football League. He is explosive out of his cuts. And with the amount of outside zone that we're going to see in this offense coming up, he is going to absolutely eat getting those cutback lanes. I'm excited to see what this offense looks like.
Let me ask you this. What about Arthur Smith's passing game gives you confidence that Pickett will be able to be effective in this offense?
So in this offense, it really is based on the play action game working off of the outside zone. So what he likes to do is he likes to go under center a ton, play action, and then what he likes to do off of that play action is because the linebackers sync up because they're trying to play the run, he likes to put his number one receiver right behind the sinking linebackers and then hit him in space over the middle of the field.
So what you're saying is George Pickens?
George Pickens, I think, is a perfect fit for that A.J. Brown role. We all remember how dominant A.J. Brown was over the middle there in Tennessee. That's going to be George Pickens' role in this offense, and it gets me excited here because that fits his skill set perfectly. All right, so we got a $5 super chat here from Omar's Burner.
The guy who hired Arthur Smith.
The guy, yep. Yeah. And then he says, Arthur got second and third in rushing in Tennessee as OC, also got the 1 seed and went to the championship game the other year. Also, Tannehill is a high-end 2.
Is he a high-end
2? So in this offense, I mean, he knows this offense well.
He knows it back and forth.
I think Ryan Tannehill's chances of being the next backup quarterback, the quote-unquote competition that they bring in for Kenny Pickett this year, just went up exponentially, all right? Ryan Tannehill had the most success in his career in this offense the 2 seasons Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator there. He went to a freaking AFC Championship game in 2020. He led the Titans to the number 1 seed in a top 5 offense, all right? So this is definitely a system Ryan Tannehill feels comfortable in, and I would say right now, if it's not Mason Rudolph coming back, I would say it's going to be Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, boy. That would be quite something. And you can get Tannehill on a pretty reasonable contract
very. He did not play well this past year. And, I think the main criticism here of this hire specifically, and the Ryan Tannehill, if they sign him, is that Arthur Smith is a quote-unquote retread. And I don't necessarily agree with that because I think that his offense has already been proven to work with the right personnel.
It's also just a completely different game being an offensive coordinator
exactly.
as opposed to being a head coach.
He's not going to be asked to lead the locker room like he was in Atlanta. His job is to run the offense, and he proved in Atlanta or in Tennessee and in the run game too at some points in Atlanta that he can do that. He can do that very well. This guy had interest around, I think the report was like 7 teams around the league had called him interested in their OC position. I mean, this guy is very well respected in NFL circles, all right? This guy is a very smart guy. He keeps things simple for the quarterback. He gets all 11 players involved in the run game. I think that this is absolutely a good hire for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think this offense has a shot at success, or at least the best shot of success that they have with Kenny Pickett in 2024. $2 super chat here from Etheria. What's up, Etheria? Says, hope Smith doesn't go all idiotic Matt Russia. Yeah, here's the thing, guys. I don't think we're getting a Matt Russia here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think he's as completely clueless as Matt Canada was, especially by the end. I just think Matt Canada had no feel for the game whatsoever. And I believe that Arthur Smith will at least have a feel of what to do as far as play sequencing goes, play scripting, what to run here, what to run there, etc. I think this will be a much smarter hire.
And one of the biggest criticisms with Matt Canada's offense is that he had no formation versatility in his play calling. And what I mean by that is that he would have a formation and they would only run one play from that formation. So if the defense saw that formation on tape and then saw it in the game, they knew exactly what play was coming. But the thing about Arthur Smith is that he has a very limited amount of formations that he uses. He likes to have very tight formations, everybody close to the ball. And he tries to make everything look the same, all right? And that's something that was a huge criticism of Matt Canada's offense here in Pittsburgh, is that defenses knew what was coming. With this offense, that's not going to be an issue. Everything is going to look the same. Play action, running the football. You're not going to know what's coming. And this is definitely an offense that can confuse defenses, that can open up passing lanes for Kenny Pickett via play action. And also the play action element of this offense, Coop, I think is really good for Kenny Pickett because it's going to get him on the run. Yeah. All right, and that's he is so much better when he's able to get on the move and throw on the run. That's one of his strengths as a passer. This offense will take advantage of that.
Yeah, when you move the pocket for Pickett, I feel like he's at his best. And I don't remember the exact stat, but most of his best plays were off of play action this year, weren't they?
What's that?
Weren't most of his best plays this year off of play action?
I mean, it's always been that way with Kenny Pickett. So I think that this offense is a good fit for Kenny Pickett. I have my doubts about Pickett. You guys know this if you've watched the show. I think that he showed a lot of things on tape that concern me, no matter who's the offensive coordinator here in 2024. But if he's going to succeed in this league, it's going to be in an offense like this, where this offense will scheme open receivers like nobody's business over the middle of the field. George Pickens is going to be going over the middle of the field with opportunities to run with the football. I think the running backs are a good fit here. Now, there's definitely some players on this offense that do not fit this offense, and they might be on their way out. We'll talk about those players once we get into this segment.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. And I also think one thing that's interesting is Art Rooney yesterday literally said that, hey, we believe in Pickett. He's going to be on this team. So this is what we get.
So, if I would rather than go get Eric Bieniemy and sign Russell Wilson for the vet minimum. That would be my perfect plan. But it seems like the Steelers want to keep Pickett. So if that's the plan, I think Arthur Smith is a damn good hire for Kenny Pickett. So on today's show, we're going to get into this breaking news segment coming at you. We're going to let you know the core tenets of Arthur Smith's offense, what you can expect to see from the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively in 2024. We're also going to talk about which players fit this offense, which players do not. And then we'll talk a little bit about Ryan Tannehill, whether or not he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler in 2024. And then after we get into the breaking news segment, we will get to your questions on a Steelers Talk live mailbag. So if you want your voice heard on today's show, you can use hashtag Steelers in the live chat, or you can super chat. So if you want your opinion to be heard today, I'm just going to say we got 500 people in the chat live right now. I'm going to say you're probably going to have to super chat if you want your question on today's show. And speaking of super chats, we got a $2 super chat here. First timer from Adam. I hope I'm not saying this wrong. Abdikadar.
I like Abdulkader.
I know I'm butchering that, but thank you for the $2 super chat. I only like this move if we get Fields. Trust me. So I think that this system still works with Fields. Again, QB friendly. You can get the quarterback on the run in this system. Let's face it. Arthur Smith hasn't done much QB run stuff like GT counter and all these different concepts that they run in Chicago and Baltimore. He's never run that stuff, so it'd be interesting to see what Fields would look like in this offense. But yeah, if they traded for Fields, I would still be on board. The only thing is,
I'm in.
But
it's Fields.
But here's the thing. They're not going to do it, okay?
No,
it's going to be Kenny Pickett in 2024, I think, whether any of us like it or not.
And then we'll assess from there.
And then we're going to assess once again in 2025. And we're going to see if Arthur Smith can turn Kenny Pickett into a Ryan Tannehill type guy and get this team to playoff wins. So today's Super Chat menu, not only will you get a shout-out on the mailbag if you Super Chat, but $10 will be taking shots today. We got the fake tequila in the house today.
Your favorite.
My least favorite, actually. Coop's going to be drinking Patron. $20 will do the tortilla slap. So if you disagree with my take, think Arthur Smith is a bum, go ahead, send it a 20, and Coop will slap the crap out of me with a tortilla, or the other way around, which is my preferred option.
I don't even know if we have tortillas left. We may resort to paper plates.
$100 total today. Get you into Steelers Talk Gold Club. That's a lifelong membership. You get a Gold Club sticker next to your Super Chats for life, and you get a shout-out on every live show. Now, before we get into this breaking news segment coming up here, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. We got almost 500 people in the chat right now. Only 60 likes. Can we get to 75 likes before we get into this first segment? Come on now. Let's go.
Come on, baby.
We need 15 more likes, and we'll get into this breaking news segment for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Arthur Smith.
Coming into this offseason, Arthur Smith was not a name I had on my radar.
What's that?
Arthur Smith was not a name I had on my radar for the Steelers.
He was on my radar, especially when he got fired. He was on my
yes,
radar.
Definitely.
But, he's somebody, man, that is a very respected offensive mind in this league. So I completely disagree with the take that, like, oh, he's a used up offensive coordinator. Let's get a brand new guy that's never had play calling experience. Not a big fan of that take right there, man. I think that Arthur Smith, at this point, B+, A- is where I'm at with Arthur Smith. He could have done a lot worse than this guy. Trust me.
While you guys go watch this segment that we're about to do, make sure you go vote in the live poll and grade the higher A, B, C, D, or F. Sperry, you ready to get into this segment here?
I'm ready. Let's get it going right now. Arthur Smith is the new OC, and we are reacting to the news coming at you right now. It is official, Steelers fans. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a brand new OC as they have agreed to terms with former Falcons head coach and Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Arthur Smith to be the next offensive coordinator for the black and gold. Today, I'm going to be reacting to the news, going to let you know what to expect from the Steelers offense in 2024 under Smith, going to let you know which players this offense fits, and then some players that, might be on their way out because they're not great scheme fits for this system. But before I get into that, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, because this is why you click that subscribe button. Breaking news action every time the Steelers make a move, every time they hire a coach, every time they sign a player in free agency, every time they make a trade this offseason. Every time there's breaking news coverage to be had for the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're going to have you covered right here on the channel. So don't miss a single news story for the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. Click that subscribe button for me right now. So Tom Pelissero was the one to break the news to Steelers Nation today, where he says the Steelers are expected to hire former Falcons coach Arthur Smith as their offensive coordinator per sources. Smith had a top run game as the Titans OC before heading to Atlanta 3 years ago. Now he'll be coaching Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, and company in Pittsburgh. So when it comes to Arthur Smith, all right, so he was the Falcons head coach from 2021, 2023. He was the Titans offensive coordinator 2019 through 2020. He started coaching in the NFL in 2007, and, in his time in Atlanta, had some pretty bad quarterback play there, and Matt Ryan, Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke. The defenses kind of struggled a little bit, and I'm not sure if he proved himself as a leader of a locker room. So I think he proved to be a better offensive coordinator and offensive mind than a true leader of a locker room and a head coach in the National Football League, which could mean Arthur Smith could be in Pittsburgh for a while, even if he has success, because he's already tried and failed as an NFL head coach. Now, let's look at the Falcons offense in 2023. And listen, when you look at these numbers, I can understand why some people are upset with this hire, saying this guy is a failure. All right, 26th in the league in points per game last year, 30th in red zone percentage, 26th in giveaways. That's not good at all. But you look at this offense, they actually moved the football at about a league average rate, 17th in yards per game, 16th in yards per play, and 13th in third down percentage. It's respectable. It's not top 10 or anything like that. But then you look back to when Arthur Smith got hired as the head coach of the Falcons back in after that 2020 season with Tennessee, and they had a bona fide top 5 offense in the National Football League with Derrick Henry A.J. Brown, and Ryan freaking Tannehill as their starting quarterback, all right? So you look at that right there. The red zone percentage was top 3. Points per game was top 5. They weren't turning the football over. They were dominating people, and they were enforcing their will, which is why Arthur Smith is still one of the more respected offensive minds in the National Football League today, and he had so much interest around from teams around the league, and the Steelers ended up landing him. So what is your one-word reaction to the Steelers making this hire, going with Arthur Smith over guys like Clint Kubiak, Brian Griese, the San Francisco 49er guys? Let me know down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment what your one-word reaction is to today's hire. So my one-word reaction here is that this is a solid hire. If I were to give it a grade, I would give it a B+ to an A-, somewhere in that range. Now, would I have rather had Clint Kubiak? Would I have rather had Brian Griese? Sure. But Arthur Smith is one of the most respected offensive minds in the National Football League today. He had a ton of interest from a bunch of different teams in the league. And oh yeah, he's bringing Mike Munchak, the legendary offensive line coach, to Pittsburgh because he is dedicated to Arthur Smith as a coach. And I think that speaks wonders of Arthur Smith's intellect and play calling prowess. So let's go over what you can expect from the Pittsburgh Steelers schematically in 2024. Number one, it is going to be heavy outside zone run scheme. All right, you're going to see outside zone probably one in every at least 4 run plays. They like to do it from tight formations. We'll get into that in a little bit. But they also like to pair it with pre-snap motion, which is another thing that Arthur Smith is known for. He likes to use motion in ways that are advantageous for the offense to exploit. Not only does he do it for information, sending guys across the formation, letting Kenny Pickett, the quarterback, know whether it's man or zone, but he also gets them going at the snap to change run fits and put the defenses in tough positions. He's one of the best in the league at using pre-snap motion to get the offense in advantageous circumstances. Number 3, heavy personnel packages. So you're going to see lots of 2 tight end packages. You're going to see Darnell Washington really thrive potentially in this system, all right? This system really rewards tight ends that can both block and receive, so we'll see if Darnell can develop, but also he likes to put 2 running backs on the field, a running back and then a fullback, and I think Connor Hayward is a perfect fit to be the fullback in this offense. Arthur Smith likes to use his fullbacks as receivers, so think Kyle Juszczyk, think Alex Ingold there with the Miami Dolphins. Arthur Smith likes to use fullbacks in that way, and I think Connor Hayward, being a former tight end, is perfect to fill that role, and he could be an every down starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this offense. Number 4, tight formations to get all 11 players involved. Arthur Smith likes to have at least two running backs or wide receivers on the field, 2 tight ends, and he likes to put everybody close to the line of scrimmage. So you can see this formation right here. You're going to see a lot of this on the Pittsburgh Steelers film in 2024. This is his favorite formation, Arthur Smith's. It's called Ace Close, okay? So you've got 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, and he loves to go outside zone, likes to do his play action stuff out of this. Get used to this because you're going to see a lot of this formation moving forward for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then number 5 here, attacking the middle of the field off of play action. He loves to go play action fake, which opens up the middle of the field because of the sinking linebackers, and he likes to put his number 1 receiver darting over the middle of the field, wide open over the middle. And it worked out for A.J. Brown in Tennessee. All right, it really did. He became a star in this league because of his role in this offense, and I think George Pickens is tailor-made for this role here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to get him the ball in space. It's going to allow him to use his excellent yard after the catch ability, and I really do think this is the type of system that George Pickens can blossom into the superstar we all know he can be. So coming up here, I'm going to go over the pros and some of the cons of Arthur Smith being the hire for the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers because, you know, it's not just pros, guys. There are some cons here, but before I get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/TJ to get an awesome TJ Watt t-shirt on sale right now on the Fanatics website. The offseason is the perfect time to stock up on your Steelers gear because that's when all the best deals are happening. And right now, Fanatics has TJ Watt t-shirt on sale right now. You can get it chatsports.com/TJ right now. All right, so now the pros of Arthur Smith's offense here is that it's extremely quarterback friendly. Okay, so the reads are going to be really simple for Kenny Pickett. He's not going to be asked to make full field progressions on every single pass play like he was in Matt Canada's offense, all right? Much more simple. The play action stuff is going to open up a ton of space over the middle of the field, and it's also going to get him on the run more. And we all know Kenny Pickett has played some of his best football when he's running outside of the pocket, throwing on the run. That's one of his strengths. This offense takes advantage of that. Number 2, it keeps the defense in the dark. Arthur Smith likes to pair all of his concepts within the same formations so the defense has no idea what's coming. So although it's a bit more simple of an offense, it also keeps the defense in the dark because they run the same stuff out of the same formations and you have no idea what's coming next. Number 3, you can dominate with the right guys. A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry led this offense to be the Titans to be a number 1 seed in the AFC in a loaded AFC conference just back in 2020. If Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, and George Pickens can fill those same roles within this offense, this team could absolutely get on the right track when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. Now, I've been an advocate of this hire. I think it's a good hire, but there are some cons involved with hiring Arthur Smith. First of all, he's not willing to make adjustments, all right? He's somebody that believes in running what you run, and you keep running it even if it's not working, all right? So he's going to have his stuff that he likes to run, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to have to master it. Other than that, he doesn't make adjustments mid-season. He doesn't make adjustments mid-game, all right? He runs what he runs. He has his plan, and right now I think that this is a plan that can work, but if it's not working, don't expect too many adjustments to be made from Arthur Smith. Number 2, the drop-back passing game is not as good as it is with the Shanahan guys, as it is with the McVay guys, as it is with like the Eric Bieniemys and the Kansas City Chiefs tree of the world, right? So it's going to be more along the lines of wanting to impose your will in the run game, shorten the game, get easy reads for your quarterback, and kind of dominate on defense, which does fit what the Pittsburgh Steelers have right now because they have a great defense. Number 3, right? So there's some personnel that just doesn't fit right now, and those guys might be in danger of potentially getting traded this offseason. We'll talk about that. They're going to have to tailor this personnel and their roster to this scheme for sure this offseason. We'll discuss everything that needs to be done in order to do that in future videos here. But I do like the move here for Arthur Smith. As I discussed, there's lots of pros. Kenny Pickett is going to be comfortable in this season, or at least as comfortable as he can be. You got 2 good running backs that are great fits for this run scheme. I am very, very excited to see what this offense looks like with Arthur Smith. And although I won't give this an A+ grade, I do think it is pretty darn good. So how does this affect the Pittsburgh Steelers' off-season strategy? And I do think it's going to affect it quite a bit. So first, let's talk about the guys that I think are great fits for this offense. We start with the quarterback and Kenny Pickett. QB-friendly system, I've been saying from the start, if you're going to stick with Kenny Pickett as your starter, you need to simplify the reads for him, and you need a quarterback-friendly scheme. They accomplished that here with Arthur Smith. Number 2, George Pickens. This offense is going to get him the ball in the middle of the field on one-on-one coverage, and he's going to be able to run away from people. That's the type of system that's going to work with George Pickens, and I cannot wait to see him bud into a potential superstar that we all know he can be. Number 3, the running back duo. All right, you got Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. Both are great fits for this outside zone run scheme, in my opinion, and I cannot wait to see this run game go with Arthur Smith at the helm. But 2 players that could be in trouble and could maybe even get dealt this offseason, Diontae Johnson for sure. Arthur Smith loves bigger receivers that can block in the run game. We saw it. I showed it earlier with that ace close formation that you're going to see a lot. 2 big receivers is what Arthur Smith likes to run. Diontae Johnson is not a good run blocker, all right? So if the Steelers can get a high second-round pick, a late first-round pick for Diontae Johnson, I think they might take it. And then in that first round, they'll replace him with a bigger wide receiver to take his spot on the Steelers offense. And then Pat Freiermuth, Arthur Smith likes tight ends that can block. Pat Freiermuth is not the best blocker in the world, so it'd be interesting to see what their plans are with Muth this offseason. And then talking about the QB competition that the Steelers want to bring in for Kenny Pickett this year, they've been talking about Mason Rudolph, how they want to bring him back. But let's say Mason Rudolph goes elsewhere. I think in that instance, Ryan Tannehill is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. And the reason for that is that he played his best football by far when Arthur Smith was his offensive coordinator in this offense. You look at those 2020 stats when the Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC that year. 65% completion percentage, almost 4,000 yards. This is Ryan Tannehill we're talking about here, guys. 33 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. So if Kenny Pickett stinks in this offense, you can at least have a little bit of confidence that Ryan Tannehill has the competency within this structure to succeed. So I think if they end up getting a good backup here for Kenny Pickett in case he stinks in this system this year, which is a possibility, Ryan Tannehill would be a good plan B in my opinion. So listen, man, Mike Tomlin, he's putting his trust in Arthur Smith to be the guy on offense here in Pittsburgh. It's going to be his offense, and honestly, if he fails, Mike Tomlin might get fired. So let me know down there in the comment section, will this be the offensive coordinator hire that gets Mike Tomlin fired as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type yes or type no. For me, I think it's going to work out. I think that it's going to be something that works out here in Pittsburgh. I think Kenny Pickett hopefully finds a little bit of success. I think the run game will be good. I think George Pickens will thrive in this offense. I think that this is a good hire. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. And of course, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button for more breaking news coverage throughout the 2024 offseason for your Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, that was a fun segment to do there, Coop. Seemed a bit longer. How long was that? That might be a record for the longest breaking news segment I've ever done at this company, man. So we got one from Raymond Denson here, $2 super chat. Thank you so much.
Shout out to you, Raymond.
Shout out to Raymond Denson for that $2 super chat. $5 super chat from TC Mosley. And it's a first-time super chatter, so let's give him some Ric Flair drip. Woo! Says, saw rumors of Mike Munchak attached to Smith. If Mike comes back, it's worth it. Our best offensive line play was when he was a Steeler. Listen, man, Munchak is a offensive line coach legend. He's one of the best in the history of football. And the reports coming into this is that he was a package deal with Arthur Smith. So that tells me two things. One, the offensive line play for the Pittsburgh Steelers is 100% going to get better. All right, because the teaching that this guy does in this organization is second to none. Number two, what does it say about Arthur Smith that one of the best offensive line coaches is a package deal with him, saying, I'm only coaching for this guy? I'm just saying, man, there's something to be said about that, all right? This guy, Arthur Smith, has led some of the best run games in the National Football League for the last, since the turn of the 2020s. This guy's been awesome in terms of the run game. All right, so you make a couple of moves here or there. You get a new offensive tackle to replace Dan Moore Jr. You get a new center to replace Mason Cole. I think that this offensive line is going to be ready to roll with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren running behind them. Connor Hayward, I think, is a perfect fit for fullback in this system. I think that George Pickens is perfect for that A.J. Brown role. I think that he could have a similar surge in this offense that A.J. had when he was in this offense in 2019.
It's time to bring back Steeler football.
And listen, man, like, this is an offense. This is an offense that requires the team to enforce their will on an opposing defense. All right, that's Pittsburgh Steeler football if I've ever heard it in one sentence. Impose your will on your opponent. That's what this system is. I think it's a great fit for the culture. I think it's a great fit for the fan base. I think it's a great fit for the offensive personnel that is here. Now, obviously, Diontae Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, not great fits in this offense, right? Kyle Pitts was not a good fit in this offense. He just wasn't. He's not a blocker. He's more of like a big tight. He's like more of a big receiver in the middle of the formation, right? So I understand the criticisms of not getting the ball to Pitts and Bijan more last year. I get it. But listen, man, like in Tennessee with Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown, this offense was awesome, okay? So I'm excited to see what he can do here going back to just an offensive coordinator role here with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We got a $2 from Big Ben. QB rankings of your ideal quarterbacks with Smith now. Thank you. We'll save that for the mailbag, Big Ben. I'm sure Sperry already has a list cooked up in his warbling brain up there.
Yeah, I mean, see, like, I have two lists right now. I got the list of quarterbacks that I think the Steelers would actually get, and those include just backups, like good backup quarterbacks. And then I got the quarterbacks that I wish they would go get. And honestly, Justin Fields would be the perfect quarterback for this system. I'm just saying.
We'll answer that one, though, on the mailbag.
I'm just saying. So we'll answer you there, Big Ben, during the mailbag. $10 super chat. Oh, man.
My man, Steelers dad.
We need to go get the shot.
Yeah, I'll go get some.
Got to go get some of the liquor here. Always appreciate your Steelers coverage. If we get Munchak, huge improvement. Yes, huge improvement. Pat Meyer, he got some praise towards the end of the season for his work with Broderick Jones. But listen, man, Mike Munchak is a freaking legend. If you have the opportunity to add him to your staff, you freaking do it, okay? So that's where I'm at. I'm super excited. And I know a lot of Steelers fans out there are dreading this move, saying it's a classic Mike Tomlin move. They're regressing, all these different things. They're not going new school offense, even though this offense is relatively new school. I wouldn't say it's like a Shanahan or McVay, but I will say that it's an effective offense if you have the right personnel and you execute it properly. So I think the Steelers, I think it's a great fit. I mean, that's just the number one thing that comes to mind. I think it's a great fit. Now, the Steelers will have to make personnel adjustments. Diontae Johnson may get traded. Pat Freiermuth may not be the best fit. So it'll be interesting to see what Arthur Smith wants to do in terms of personnel. But George Pickens isn't going anywhere, guys. I've heard some things about, George Pickens is going to get traded. No, he's not. All right? He is a perfect fit for this offense. Perfect fit. And I cannot wait to see what he looks like in that A.J. Brown role, man. If you remember back in 2019, 2020, just how good A.J. Brown was in this offense, getting the ball in space over the middle of the field. And you look at George Pickens' best plays in 2023, what were they? They were in breaking routes, caught, and he runs after the catch and takes it to the house. All right, that's what George Pickens does really well. He does 50-50 balls down the sideline, and he catches balls over the middle and takes them for 6. All right, those are the two things that he does at an elite level, and I think he's going to do that here in Arthur Smith's offense. All right, so we got some more Super Chats rolling in. Shay Love says, how do you feel about Jordan Travis meeting with the Steelers? The Steelers are meeting with a lot of people.
Cheers.
Cheers, folks. I got the fake tequila here.
All right.
As you can tell, I don't like the taste of even fake alcohol. God damn.
All right, we're gonna sprint through the rest of these and then get into the mailbag.
All right, sounds good. All right, so Jordan Travis, in terms of Travis, he's an athletic guy, doesn't process information too well, definitely a late round kind of lottery ticket kind of guy. Maybe the Steelers consider taking him in like the 6th round. Then we got one from Matthew Pope, a first-time Super Chatters, a Ric Flair drip. Woo! He says, Kenny showed us he doesn't turn the ball over and wins games at the end. I see him having a jump year. And listen, I really am rooting for Kenny Pickett. I really am. He was definitely conservative with the football. They asked him to be a game manager there, especially, last season. And he was that. He didn't turn the ball over. He had one of the lowest turnover-worthy play percentages in the league. And then he's played some of his best football when his best was required in the 4th quarter. So that gives you hope for Kenny Pickett. But just know that it's still a legitimate possibility that he ends up being a bust, all right? So I'll just say that right now. $2 Super Chat from Raquel Montiel. Thank you so much, Raquel, for your support. We got one from John Sennett.
First, but shout out, John.
Shout out, John Sennett. $2 Super Chat. Thank you so much.
And then another from... This one's pretty good.
Raquel Montiel says, Mike T, next FedEx CEO. Fire Arthur. We're already going with the Fire Arthurs?
He's the next FedEx CEO. Arthur's dad is the founder of FedEx. He's a billionaire.
Is he?
Yes. Arthur Smith's dad is the founder of FedEx.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Shout out to our guy Kermit.
Kermit is my God. What's up, my friend? Says Darnell Washington, breakout year. Listen, he's got the physical talent. He was terrible as a receiver this past year. Can't separate against man coverage. Doesn't run routes well. And he doesn't have the best hands in the world either.
We'll see about Darnell.
We'll see about Darnell. I am excited about his run blocking in this offense, though. Arthur Smith is going to love some.
Omar, this one will be juicy for the mailbag, my friend.
A.J. Brown for DJ. I could see A.J. Brown This might have to be tomorrow's video, man. I'm not going to lie. A.J. Brown for DJ and a second-round pick? Would they do that?
I'm in.
I would be in. Trade our second-rounder and Diontae Johnson for A.J. Brown. I would be in.
At this point, you guys are going to have to super chat to get on the mailbag because we have so many questions.
And by the way, we got Gold Club member Austin Tardif in here with a $5 super chat. What's up, Austin? We going to go to him?
Yeah, we'll go to him real quick and then we'll get in.
All right.
Austin
Tardif with a $5 super chat says currently 30 feet off the ground doing tree work, but I'm here, baby. Let's go.
Wild.
I think it's a B- higher. Could have been worse. Absolutely could have been worse.
Please be careful, Austin. Don't be watching and doing your job and fall off the tree.
Yeah, and you know what I'll say about this? Actually, you know what? I'll answer this question in full in our mailbag coming up right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers have hired Arthur Smith to be their next offensive coordinator, and today I'm here to answer your questions on the new Steelers OC or whatever other questions that you have regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already to join the most interactive Steelers community here on the YouTube platform, 100% free. And with that, I'll pause and open it up for questions, starting with TC Mosley. Sends in a $5 super chat, says, saw rumors of Mike Munchak attached to Smith. If Mike comes back, it's worth it. Our best offensive line play was when he was a Steeler. Absolutely. Mike Munchak, it was reported that he is a package deal with Arthur Smith, so it looks like he will be returning to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I'll say about that rumor, and what if that rumor is true, it tells me one really big thing about Arthur Smith. All right, Mike Munchak respects the hell out of him enough to where he's saying the only coach I'm coaching for is Arthur Smith. All right, what does that say about Arthur Smith? It means that he's a good leader. It means he treats his staff well. It means that he's a great offensive mind. Mike Munchak knows what he's doing, and he knows a great offensive mind when he sees one. And the fact that he's attached himself to Arthur Smith should be a good sign for Steelers fans all across this country. Next one from Big Ben 2493. What's up, my man? Says QB rankings of your ideal QBs with Smith now. So number one would be Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields in this QB-friendly system could absolutely ball out. Now, that's probably not going to happen. The Steelers keep saying they're going to go with Kenny Pickett, so I believe them. Number two, Ryan Tannehill right now. I think that he's been a really good quarterback in this system. He knows how to operate it well. And although he hasn't played all that well in Tennessee these past few years, they changed up the offense. It wasn't an Arthur Smith offense, and it showed because he had a big dip in production. I think he could be a really good backup option for Kenny Pickett here in 2024. All right, so now let me know down there in the comments section, who do you want to be the Steelers QB1 in 2024? Do you want it to be Justin Fields? Do you want it to be Kenny Pickett? Do you want it to be Mason Rudolph, Ryan Tannehill? Let me know down there in the comments section who you want to be the next QB1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers for today's pinned comment. Next question comes from She Love Tay. And she says, how do you feel about Jordan Travis meeting with the Steelers? So listen, the Steelers are going to meet with a lot of players here over these next several months. Jordan Travis is an intriguing guy because he's got high-end physical upside, really good athlete, but on tape, he's just not a good mental processor. Decision-making is definitely so-so. So I definitely think he's going to be a later-round quarterback if the Steelers want to take a chance on a lottery ticket there in like the 5th, 6th round. Maybe Jordan Travis is an option for you. Then we got one from Matthew Pope here, $5 super chat. Says, Kenny showed us he doesn't turn the ball over and wins games at the end. I see him having a jump year. And listen, man, Kenny does have some of these little things that make you optimistic for his future. He played his best football when the game was on the line throughout his career, right? He's had some of the most game-winning drives of any quarterback ever in his first 2 seasons starting, right? So there's that in his favor. And then also, I think he was number 1 in turnover-worthy play percentage on passers with at least 200 pass attempts last year. So he's really good at protecting the football, and he's good in the fourth quarter. So listen, if Arthur Smith can get Kenny Pickett to play well enough, say like a Ryan Tannehill level there in Tennessee, absolutely, this team could win playoff games, in my opinion, with Kenny Pickett as their quarterback. But it's definitely going to be a narrow road because Kenny Pickett definitely showed some struggles in his first 2 seasons. Then we got one from Kermit is My God, $2 super chat. It says, Darnell Washington, breakout year. Maybe. Darnell is definitely not a good receiver, or at least he wasn't in 2023. Now, Arthur Smith loves him some tight ends that can block, and that's what Darnell does really, really well. So I cannot wait to see what Darnell Washington looks like in this offense moving forward. I'd expect that he has a very big role in this offense moving forward, and hopefully he can develop as a wide receiver. So now, do me a favor right now. Click that subscribe button if you want to join the most interactive Steelers community here on YouTube. We just passed our biggest competitor for the largest Steelers talk show on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for making that happen. We couldn't be here without you guys. We've grown so much over the last 12 months or so. So if you want to have your voice heard on the show, these mailbags are perfect for that. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. Then we got $2 super chat from Omar's Burner. Says A.J. Brown for Diontae Johnson. Now, we all know that A.J. Brown and the Eagles' relationship is kind of so-so. All right? So, and they didn't fire Nick Sirianni. So if A.J.'s issue is with Sirianni, the head coach, then I think it's possible that he asks for a trade. And if that's the case, Omar Khan has a connection to the Philadelphia Eagles. They'd probably get the first call. And A.J. Brown was a superstar in Arthur Smith's offense in 2020 and 2019. If the Steelers have the opportunity to trade Diontae Johnson and their second-round pick, or even their first-round pick, in exchange for A.J. Brown, I think they're going to jump at the opportunity. Then we got one from Just Webb's World 1. He says, Mims, Amarius Mims, Jackson Powers Johnson, or Tyler Guyton, which one of these linemen would you want the Steelers to primarily target? So listen, man, I love Jackson Powers Johnson there from Oregon. He is awesome. He is strong. He is big. He plays with good technique. He pancakes people, and he can move extremely well, which is definitely something that Arthur Smith is going to be looking for. All right, these outside zone run schemes, they require people to move off the ball with both intent, with speed, and with power. Jackson Powers Johnson does that better than any center in this year's draft class. If he's available at number 20, I think he's going to be one of the top draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first round in 2024. So do me a favor right now, check out our friends at Fanatics, and they're currently selling this awesome TJ Watt t-shirt at sale prices right now because it's the offseason, and that's when Fanatics has their best deals. So take advantage of that right now. If you believe in TJ Watt as one of the best defenders, not only in Steelers history, but NFL history, you can add this awesome TJ Watt t-shirt there for a very low price. Just go to chatsports.com/TJ. Use our link for a fantastic price on this awesome Steelers t-shirt. Then we got one from Mimic Tarzier235 here. He says, I don't know how bad he was in Atlanta, but didn't Arthur not use Bijan or Pitts correctly? So I would say this right now. I didn't think Kyle Pitts was a good fit for that offense, all right? He's just not. He's more of like almost like a pseudo big slot receiver. He's not a great blocker, never really has been, and they tried to do that with him in this offense, and it just didn't work. Like, Arthur Smith has his system. He tries to put players in his system and make it work, but Kyle Pitts just wasn't the right fit for his offense. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do a better job at getting him the right personnel to be able to make it work. And then Bijan Robinson, the way that he wasn't used correctly is that he kind of made it more of a share between him, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, and the other running backs that they had there in Atlanta. People thought he should have been getting the ball more. They thought they should have been getting him the ball more as a receiver. And those are fair points, but at the same time, I do think that the personnel here in Pittsburgh with guys like George Pickens, Najee Harris, and Jaylen Warren, and the tight ends they have here as well, are a much better fit for Arthur Smith. And then also the quarterback play, at least I'm hoping, is going to be a lot better in Pittsburgh than what he had in Atlanta. Then we got one from Jonathan Harvey. It says, should the Steelers ask Gerard Johnson to be the assistant offensive coordinator? Don't think he would take that job, to be honest with you. And I don't think Arthur Smith would want him to take that job. So, if you were a Gerard Johnson guy, you wanted him to be the guy here in Pittsburgh, looks like he might be out of luck. Then we got one from Etheria, who says, hope Smith doesn't go idiotic Matt Russia on us. And listen, man, I do not think that this is going to be a Matt Canada level failure here in Pittsburgh. I think this offense is very structured. I think it's good for Kenny Pickett because he needs a very structured offense. I think it's good for the run game, especially bringing Mike Munchak back to coach the offensive line. The defense is going to do its thing. So I think this move allows the Pittsburgh Steelers to enforce their will on their opponents on both sides of the football, which is very exciting, at least for me as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Then we got a $5 super chat here from Jacob Wizerak, Gold Club member here. It says, with what Art said about wanting to win, especially in the playoffs, why not go get a Fields? Love the Steelers, but they can be too loyal sometimes. And I 100% agree with you, Jacob. I think Justin Fields would be a slam dunk, grand slam home run in this system. He's not going to have to go through heavy progression reads like he did in Chicago most of the time there with the Bears. It's very simple. He can run with the football. It gets him outside of the pocket. And, hopefully Arthur Smith would bring in the very creative running back or QB run game stuff that we've seen from teams like Buffalo, teams like Chicago, teams like Baltimore. And that would just be a match made in heaven, in my opinion. But it seems like they want to go with Kenny Pickett. They moved off of Matt Canada a year too late. It seems like they might be doing the same thing with Kenny Pickett this year. But listen, man, if he's going to succeed in any offense, I think it's going to be this one here with Arthur Smith. Then, now let me know down there in the comment section, what grade do you give the Arthur Smith hiring after me answering your questions today? Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comment section. Let me know how you're feeling about the Arthur Smith hiring. That'll be it for today's mailbag, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now for all the latest Steelers news and rumors all throughout the 2024 offseason. All right, so we're gonna sign off here, guys. Thank you so much for sticking with us here for this breaking news coverage. The Steelers have a new offensive coordinator. I am excited for the future. I think
Super Bowl 24, baby. Let's go. Super Bowl number 7.
Super Bowl 59 champs. I think might be getting a little ahead of ourselves there, but listen, given the path that the Steelers are going down, I think it's a good hire. All right, so time will tell, but I think for the time being, I like the fit. I like where this team is heading. And with the defense the way that it is, with the personnel that you have on offense, I think it's a great fit. I think he's a good offensive mind. You're getting the elite offensive line coach back. I'm excited for the future of this offense.
You could do a lot worse, man.
A lot worse. Yeah, could you have maybe done a little bit better with like a Clint Kubiak or a Brian Greasy or someone like that? Sure. All right. But, there's so many more guys that would have been worse than this one. All right. And out of the 3 options that they interviewed, Arthur Smith, Thomas Brown, and Gerard Johnson.
Arthur Smith is number 1 by far.
I'm taking Arthur Smith. All right. He's really the only guy with true offensive play calling experience. Brown had a little there in Carolina, and then Gerard hasn't had any. So I'm looking at Arthur Smith as somebody that's a good hire, a good fit for this team, and I am excited for the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll be it for us today, guys.
Later, peoples.
We'll see you tomorrow for the Steelers Talk live show. 2 live shows in a row. We'll see you guys there. Make sure you click that subscribe button to never miss a live show during the 2024